What if the biggest opportunity in the markets right now isn't AI? What if I told you for the first time in years, small caps have started outperforming the tech sector? We're going to look at a variety of charts that show these rotations in action. Let's dive right in. For the last decade or so, if you have owned small caps, you've done okay. It's not as though this is bad. It's not as though you're not making money. You can see that since 2006, if we went back 20 years, small caps started on the lower left and have certainly progressed to higher prices in the upper right. But how much have they gone up? Have they kept pace with other markets? Well, no, they have not. And usually small caps are a little more volatile, and you expect some outperformance when compared to the S&P over the longer term. That has simply not been the case. If you were to look at the Nasdaq 100, the performance since 2006 till today has been absolutely through the roof. The outperformance has been gigantic, so much so that if we were to pull up a comparative chart, this chart is IWM versus QQQ. So it's one price divided by the other, and that gives you a ratio. So for example, if IWM were trading at 200 and QQQ were trading at 600, this divided by this would give you a ratio. And that's what this shows over here on the bottom right-hand corner. So here we're at 0.42. You can see though the significant underperformance in the first versus the second. Which direction is this chart moving? Well, it's moving from upper left to lower right for years and years, we can see. For decades, we have been moving to the downside, IWM versus QQQ. What that means is that the Nasdaq 100 has vastly outperformed. Well, what are the biggest components of the Nasdaq 100? It's Apple, it's Amazon, it's Google, it's Facebook, which is Meta, it's Microsoft, it's all of these big tech names. And what are the biggest names in the Russell 2000? A lot of more obscure companies, a lot of companies you may not have heard of, Boyd Gaming and so on and so forth. So obviously it's these large tech names that have driven the outperformance. That's what we're seeing. Nothing has performed better than tech over the past 10 plus years. Now, if we were to take a close-up look here, it gets a little more interesting because notice that we've really turned a corner for the first time in a long time. We attempted a little reversal of this ratio in 2014, and it quickly failed. Notice the moving averages crossed each other. The price action had gone above the moving averages. In other words, small caps outperformed for a couple of months, but then notice within just a couple of weeks, we were right back in that downward trend. We're starting the same type of reversal, but this one looks a lot more sticky. We are seeing the 20 cross above the 50. We're seeing the price maintain above that. You're seeing bullish candlesticks, meaning IWM, for the first time in years, dare I say, looks like it could experience some real outperformance. That's probably led less by how good IWM looks and led more by the fact that QQQ looks really rough. If we were to dive in to the Nasdaq specifically, for example, here's software and services. If we just look at software, they are absolutely getting hammered. We were just a couple of weeks ago at 190 on this ETF. We're down at 155. So just in the past couple of weeks, you can see the drops that these are in. And as you look within the software sector, the tech sector in general, there are many stocks that are down 40, 50, 60% even within that tech sector. So this is a true rotation happening. And again, it's more the tech weakness than it is explosive upside in the Russell 2000 and small caps. If we were to compare, for example, RSP versus SPY, what is this? Well, both of these are S&P 500 ETFs. The first one is what we call an equal weight. The second one is market cap weighted. This is the one most people refer to, the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is dominated again by those big names, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon. Those have a huge weighting in the S&P. But if we were to take all 500 companies and equally weight them, meaning The smallest, the 495th, 496th company, those small companies had as much weight as Apple and Amazon within the index, and they were all evenly weighted. That's what the RSP does. It's an evenly weighted S&P 500. Notice once again the vast underperformance for years and years, and just starting to try to turn higher. So we are seeing significant rotations out of the tech dominant names. If you look at gold, silver versus the S&P or versus the QQQ, it would be even more severe of late. Notice how gold, for the first time in years, again, this was in a downtrend since the 2011 peak in gold and silver. This is when silver was up at $47 per ounce, right? Gold was up at $1,800 an ounce, and it collapsed down, went all the way back to $1,000 an ounce and so forth. They have seen a huge recovery, and notice that we are in an upward trend. So gold is outperforming the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq and those big tech names for the past few months. Or if we were to click over and take a close-up look at emerging markets versus the Nasdaq, these emerging markets are Brazil and India and China. You can see the rotations that have been taking place over the past few weeks. So the Nasdaq is really underneath the surface. The Nasdaq and the tech names have really started to struggle the past few weeks, and these are major rotations that have not transpired, that have not really looked this good in multiple years. Now, one would say, well, can the S&P 500 continue to go higher without tech leading the way? It's going to be difficult because the technology sector is by far and away the biggest weighting in the S&P 500. And if those big tech names struggle, it's going to pull the markets down with it. Now, we've seen some rotations happening. We've really seen money pouring into, just in the past couple of weeks, Verizon, AT&T, Coca-Cola, Berkshire Hathaway. What are all of those companies? Well, they're consumer staples. They are defensive. We're seeing money rotate into the defensive sectors, and that's how things tend to go when market participants expect we're entering into a bear market cycle. You certainly want to be out of tech and the really cyclical type of things, the things that are most heavily influenced by the economy, and you want to be in more defensive areas. You want to liquidate the aggressive areas of the portfolio, at least to a certain extent, and get into more defensives. Now, you can always take this to too much of an extreme. For us that are long-term investors, this might simply mean to buy some protection, to look at collaring up some trades, to do some things to protect your tech names while the others see a rotation into them. But be smart about it. I think these are important charts that have started to really meaningfully rotate for the first time in years. Now, maybe most importantly, remember that rotations are messy. They don't move in straight lines. So you've got to be aware that it will be a bumpy ride, that tech sells off and then it'll bounce back. And it's probably on that relief bounce where you'd want to reinitiate bearish positions, hedges, things of that sort to protect against some of the downside moves. If you found this video helpful, check out the next one where we talk about additional trading opportunities. And if you want to learn more about how to manage trades and rotations and how to build protective positions on investments that you own, that's what we teach at the Cashflow Academy. Link is in the description. We'll see you in the next video.